Everyone. Snyder and Barnett, 2006, list potential goals and benefits of an appropriately conducted informed consent process as including promoting client autonomy and self-determination, minimizing the risk of exploitation and harm, fostering rational decision-making, and enhancing therapeutic alliance. Barnett, 2020. Informed consent is quite an extensive process. I chose an informed consent from a local counseling practice due to the complication of the law and my desire to understand Ohio's law, since I'll be practicing in the heartland. The informed consent I chose is 4 pages long, which makes me wonder if this is read in its entirety by clients. The counselor includes an introduction to briefly describe counseling, to mention that it takes courage also to choose counseling, informs the length of time, which is 50 minutes, of each session, and offers a copy of the Code of Ethics upon request of the client. She writes about her qualifications, which includes her degrees in universities attended and her affiliations with professional counseling organizations. She covers what to expect in a session, the importance of clients' active participation, the length of each session, how to receive maximum benefit from counseling, and the right to terminate therapy at any time. If treatment is mandated, there's a release for the client information to the mandated agency or court. It discusses drugs and alcohol. They are not permitted before counseling and the consequences of such behavior. Next area of consent covers risk and benefits of counseling, confidentiality and the exceptions to this requirement, which includes danger to self or others, abuse, client permission, judge-mandated release, if client sues a counselor or makes false accusations. Also in consultation with professionals within the field. Personal social media relationships are prohibited. Minor clients and their consent requirements. Litigation limitations due to the nature of therapeutic process and the fact that it often involves making full disclosure with regard to many matters and may be of confidential nature. It's agreed that should there be legal proceedings, neither the client or anyone else acting on your behalf will call on the counseling practice to testify in court or at any other proceeding, nor will a disclosure of psychotherapy records be requested or provided. I thought this was interesting. As with a subpoena that's signed by a judge, we do have to give information, so I thought I would read that. In an emergency, if the client or if the counselor cannot call you within 15 minutes, they are to call 911 or the 24/7 recovery service and counseling hotline number, which is provided on the consent. Consent is written in plain language for clients to understand. Fees and payments are discussed. There is a requirement of custody papers for treatment of a minor if shared parenting is ordered. Talks about record maintenance and security of the records. Procedure for dissatisfaction of services, including the numbers of the OCS WMFT board and the ACA. In the state of Ohio, their requirements were pretty well met. There are a few things that I'm going to cover here that was not put on the consent, but I'm assuming that they just go ahead and provide the service if needed, which brings me to the first one. It talks about the communication. It needs to be culturally and developmentally appropriate. It says if an interpreter is needed, that the counseling firm or counseling practice will provide it. That was not mentioned in their informed consent. Counselors, social workers, marriage and family therapists who provide services via electronic means shall inform clients and recipients of the limitations and risks associated with such services. That was not mentioned, so I'm assuming that they do not have this electronic means to communicate with their clients. The counselor shall make it clear to third party that he shall not have rights and access to the client's file. That was not covered. Also, when a court or other judicial body orders an evaluation, assessment, or other official report, licensee shall inform the client parameters of the court order. The counselor, social worker, or marriage family therapist shall not go beyond the parameters of the court order without obtaining written permission from the court or other judicial body. So I just mentioned that because they say that you cannot contact them for any kind of legal service. So Well, thanks for listening. You guys have a great week.